I thought I heard.
Monday night, 2-minute drill time. I'm Jim Monaghan along with Chris Swendeman. Major League Baseball teams starting to finalize their rosters a little bit as we get past the halfway mark of spring training. And I can see why Yankee fans are starting to push the panic button. With Garrett Cole now gone for at least a year with Tommy John surgery, and there are other injuries piling up, including Clark Schmidt, who got pulled before his latest start with soreness in his pitching shoulder. Easy for me to say. And then just today, Paul Goldschmidt leaving today's game with just a couple of at-bats under his belt, complaining of a sore back. What you should be concerned about with Goldschmidt is his age. A back issue at any age isn't good, but at the age of 37, it's really not good. But Swendeman, here's why I don't think Yankee fans need to panic. If you go back to the Oakland A's and Moneyball, the film, the book, what have you,
Mhm.
all you got to do is make the postseason. That's it. Just get to
Yep.
the postseason. I mean, look what happened last year. Garrett Cole out until June. How did that work out?
Right.
They got to the World Series. They got the game five of
Exactly.
the World Series, right? So who are you worried about in the American League East? Baltimore? Okay, maybe,
Mhm.
but they have pitching problems of their own.
Right.
The Red Sox? Maybe,
Could
but they
be.
have pitching problems of their
Right.
own. I am not the slightest bit concerned about the Toronto Blue Jays,
No.
nor am I worried about the Tampa Bay Rays.
No.
So all you basically have to do in April, May, and June is stay afloat.
Hmm.
That's it. And then after that, as you approach the deadline, first, you use the first 2 months to see what you have anyway, and you see how the division's shaping up. And then you make a deal at the trade deadline if you're close enough. And the Yankees have enough prospects that if they need to go out and get somebody like Dylan Cease, if he's still out there, they might overpay a little bit. But if they're close enough, get to the playoffs and let everything work its way out after that.
1,000%. I agree with you. And as a Yankee fan, I am not panicking yet. I'm I'm cautiously optimistic with a question mark, but I'm not panicking. It is concerning, but I think they still have enough depth to get through and muddle their way through the first couple months. I'm going to use the age-old adage for MLB. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And they have enough time to get over these, short-term injuries, we'll say, and get into, the warmer part of the months of the season and keep them going. Clark Schmidt, sore shoulder, you can get past that, hopefully. And they have enough, they have Will Warren, who's ready to go. And one interesting fact, which I want to see how they handle it this week, is there's a stipulation in Carlos Carrasco's contract that allows him to opt out on the 22nd, which is this coming Friday. Now, if he opts out, now we have a little bit of a problem because there goes your depth. So that may be a little, something they need to work out sooner rather than later and see what they have in him and if they want to bring him up to the major league club before the start. But other than that, I think they're looking fairly decent. And you and I both know a trade is going to happen at some point. They need it, whether it's a cease or whether, hey, look, right in the NL East, right under the Mets' noses, is Sandy Alcantara, who the Marlins, I guarantee you, a great pitcher, are going to wait to build up his value and deal him mid-season. There's a bunch of options for them. So it's just getting through, like you said, the early part of the year and see what you have and then go from there.
And if you look at the standings right now for American League East Division teams in spring training, and yes, I know it's just spring training games, but nonetheless, Toronto 14-9, Boston is at 13-9, and the Yankees are 11-11. And then you have the Rays and the Orioles below them. I think the Orioles will do obviously better than that.
Yeah.
I don't think the Yankees are going to win the division. They don't have to win the division. Stay close enough for, a move or two near the trade deadline to actually make an impact and just get to the World Series and let the chips fall where they may.
The American League, no matter where you stand, is very winnable by many teams. And the AL East, probably other than maybe the Texas Rangers, no other team scares me. They Yankees Red Sox, Orioles, any of those combination of the three, I could see all three of them in the playoffs.
Meanwhile, we've been talking about him for a couple of weeks, and that would be Aaron Rodgers as we shift to the NFL. Still not set up with a NFL team for the coming season. And in the back of my mind, and we mentioned this last week, the Giants, they definitely need a quarterback. I don't think you can go into the season with Tommy DeVito, aka Tommy Cutlets, as QB1. But I got thinking about it because last week I said Giants should go after him. But then I'm thinking, given the chaotic mess that's going on in the front office from ownership on down, I start to wonder, with all of the baggage that Rodgers brings, maybe it isn't such a great idea.
No, I think it's a horrible idea. The circus that he brings along with him anywhere he goes, he loves the drama. He loves, the reporters hanging on his every move and, being on McAfee and all that, he brings with him. Is it really worth it? But the problem is with the Giants, aside from ownership, these are all guys trying to save their jobs. Rodgers, they need Rodgers. Rodgers does not need them. Let's make that perfectly clear. So, of course, they want to bring in Rodgers because that is the best chance they have at being a formidable team in a very tough division. The one where, by the way, the reigning Super Bowl champs are, the top seed right now. Washington got that much better. You're basically the bottom feeders at this point in that division, although Dallas may give you a run for that, spot in a little bit, but they need Rodgers way more than he needs them. And I think, like all reports have been saying, he's holding out for Minnesota at this point. Does he really want to finish his career if this is his swan song in New York on the Giants team that is marginal at best?
Only if he can be the reason why the Giants get to the playoffs. If he thinks in the back of his mind, I can be that guy, then maybe it's worth it for him. But the Vikings, as you just mentioned, they seem to be the team that's holding up whatever happens with Aaron Rodgers at this point.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to figure out if J.J. McCarthy, their rookie that they drafted last year, who's rehabbing from knee injury, is ready to go and will be able to take them to that next step. Or if they want the quick Band-Aid, let J.J. McCarthy sit a year behind Rodgers, learn from him, and, let Rodgers work his magic, or at least try to, with, they have a star-studded wide receiver in Justin Jefferson that he would do well with Rodgers. But again, does Minnesota want the circus that comes along with Rodgers being on the team?
So, bottom line for this week, and happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way, Yankee fans, don't panic yet. And Aaron Rodgers, you got a decision or two to make. That's the 2 Minute Drill podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. We'd appreciate that. And we'll talk to you next Monday.
You got it, Jim. Have a good one.
There we go.